Good morning, everybody. Hopefully the slides are working through. So my name's Helen Brind. There's a few people I know that are joined us on this call this morning. I'm the Growth Hub Manager, if you don't know me, and my colleague here, Richard Byard, who's going to be supporting me through our 20-minute session this morning, and he's a little bit around internationalisation. So I'm just going to run through a few quick slides, and then we're going to just talk about some of the people we're talking to, I guess, at the minute in terms of what we're up at, what we're supporting with. So some of you know the Growth Hub, some of you may not know the Growth Hub. We provide business support to Oxfordshire businesses through a number of different avenues, which I'll go into in a bit more detail, but I just wanted to talk about our response to the COVID crisis in terms of what we've been doing over the last few weeks. So what we've put in place on top of what we already offer is an enhanced package of support. And you'll see on this slide, we launched in May some critical one-to-one support, providing business diagnostic and action planning. That's gone really well, which I will talk about in a bit more detail. So far, we've given robust support to 35 businesses where previously we wouldn't have necessarily been able to do that. We launched on the 22nd May a Business Resilience grant fund, which I will go into a bit more detail. That was a fund just shy of 800,000 to Oxfordshire businesses only. Something else you may have seen that we launched is a pop-up business school. These have been run previously across Oxfordshire, but we've done a pan-Oxfordshire approach working with our district council colleagues, just providing some additional pre-start, and actually not just pre-start, but people that have got businesses looking for that bit more of a support in terms of maybe getting their business off the ground, or just looking at how they might change their business or maybe pivot their business. And then working with our local authority colleagues in terms of the discretionary fund, which you may have seen popping up through LinkedIn, through colleague LinkedIn pages, but also we're starting to push that out for colleagues.
Helen, I just wonder, can you just, before you move on, can you just tell me a little bit more or tell colleagues a little bit more about the business resilience grants? How many businesses have applied? Have there been any particular sectors that we've noticed, and is there any sort of trend around the key issues? Is it worth just diving into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I say, we launched on the 22nd of May, which was just before the bank holiday. It was quite slow in terms of the applications over that weekend. We had 17 over that weekend. It sped up to the point that when we issued out the applications to our grant panel earlier this week, we sent them 69 applications to review. Since then, and as of this morning, because I've just had the update figures this morning, we've had 360 applications so far for that scheme, which is pretty big. So where we are currently at the moment is we're just pulling additional panel members together to make sure that we are not overloading those panel members with the applications. Is there some synergies? We're seeing applications from from pubs, restaurants, hospitality, consultancy firms, event management firms, locksmiths, all sorts of real absolute range of different organisations that are applying for grants. And in terms of what they're looking for, again, it's very varied from a florist who actually grows their own flowers. They're looking to put a borehole in, say that this time of morning. 2 seconds, I just need to shut my window. Sorry. In terms of them trying to put their own borehole in so that they can actually expand out in what they're doing in terms of growing their own flowers, etc., through to businesses that are looking to put health and safety activities and items in place that they can open in the next couple of weeks, through to businesses that are just trying to pivot their business going online. We've got an educational company that wants to put everything online, but they don't necessarily have the resources in order to do that. We think with the applications that we've got so far, there's going to be around about 100 jobs saved as a result of the grants that have just gone through to the panel for review now. So very varied, very wide. In terms of, are we oversubscribed? Yes. However, that doesn't mean the door's shut, because we're actually using a very open grant application process, and we will continue to look at through grants through to Friday. So not much time to get applications in, but we are continuing to take applications on board to make sure it's a fair process. And I guess the last thing just to say is it's a very robust process. So we're completing the due diligence externally. We then have an independent external panel. They then, the panel, the applications that then come back in that are suggested for approval will go to the local economic development teams to give that real local flavour. And then that will come back into the LEP. That's mine and Richard's job over the next few weeks to do that final moderating on the applications.
Okay, thanks. And that's really, really helpful. And what we should have said, colleagues, on the watching the session, please feel free to ask questions, drop questions in the chat. Just to close on the business resilience grants, 3 main criteria, and that's around business growth. There are businesses that are growing, business resilience, and safeguarding or creating new jobs. They're sort of the main criteria that the awards are being judged against. So thanks, Helen. That's really helpful.
Actually, something I should have mentioned at the beginning, that something was mentioned to me this morning. I understand these slides come up quite small on your screen. Apparently, if you double click on the slides, it will make it bigger for you. That's what I'm being told. Does that work?
Yeah, still quite small.
Okay. So moving on. So that's our offer in response to into COVID-19, but just really to talk about what else we do, because the response to COVID is part of our job. But I guess what's going to become more important as we move along is we have other programs of support, which some of you will be aware of, some of you are involved in, as is people like we've got Grant on the call this morning, so he's involved in some of this stuff. So we've got our innovation support for business. So that's our ISFB program, you'll have probably heard it called. So this is a business support program where we offer grants, match grants up to the value of £50,000. We do workshops and we provide one-to-one support. It isn't just done through the LEP. We have a number of different partners, such as City Council, Cherwell Council, Begbrook, to name just a few, The Hill. So we get some really specialist advice being given through that programme. That programme has been extended through to 2022, and that's very much about innovative entrepreneurs and SMEs, and that's really about helping people commercialise an innovation, whatever that innovation is. And innovation is quite a wide word for all, but very much thinking about what it is that we're trying to help people bring to market. Then we've got our Escalate programme, which Grant is involved with. So this is a split programme, if I'm honest, and the best way of describing it is it's almost split in two. So half of it is very much about access to finance and helping businesses grow and scale up at scale. And then the other side is our social enterprise activity. So 2 very different programmes, but I guess the key thing to say is that on the Escalate side, we have grants up to a value of 25,000, again matched. We have workshops, and we're working through those. Some of those workshops are being delivered by the 6 hubs that are looked after by OxLEP. So very much that more specialist advice being given, and then again one-to-one support. So as we've said on here, the Escalate programme specifically targets scale-up growth and social enterprise, including charities. So we've talked about the critical one-to-one support. This has been done for us by a chap called Paul Holmes, PCH Business Support. And talking to Paul, it's been interesting. I've had an update from him this morning, and so far he's seen around about 35 organisations. Interestingly, only 2 of those 35 are at risk of their business closing, which I think was quite an interesting fact, which I need to dig into that because, as I say, I only got that information this morning. A lot are looking for signposting about grants. A lot of them are interested in our grant screen, the discretionary grant screen, but a lot of them are just looking about how do they reignite their business? How do they think differently about what they're trying to do with their business? So we're just pulling together the results from that and the output, and they're all getting development plans and support plans in order to help them move on that journey. That goes to July 2020. It was a short-term opportunity, but it was something we were very keen to get in as soon as we could in terms of where we were with COVID-19. We've got Pop-Up Business School I mentioned. This is a 5-day programme, has been run before, usually face-to-face. They've pivoted their business so that they can do this online. They ran their first one with Westminster Council 2 weeks ago, which was very successful. It's quite a robust day. It's 10 till 3, so people are going to be on the call quite a long time. Their dropout rate, despite the fact it was a longish day, was only they maintained 90% throughout the whole day over the 5-day period, which I think is quite impressive. We can have as many people as possible on that. Previously, that was used as very much as really people looking to start their business. However, generally speaking, 45% of the people that attend those workshops are actually people that are already have a business, but they're looking to refocus and harness what they're looking to do. Interestingly, we've got 76 booked onto this one, which starts on the 15th of June, and over 50% already have a business, which is interesting. So we're going to look at what do we need to learn from that, and then how do we engage more fully with people like the job centres and job clubs and those kind of organisations, because we know that there's going to be high levels of unemployment. Great way for people to start having those conversations. The first module is how to start your business for free, no money involved. So I think that's a really good opener for people. And then we've already talked about the OxLEP Business Resilience grants. As I say, they close on Friday. So if you're looking at that, please drop us a line, because obviously we need to get those applications in. It's a much shorter process for anybody that's applied to a grant for us before, but we can talk you through that process. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the support we've given today, I guess, because not everybody knows about us. So in the last 3 years, we've had a number of different business support programmes. So far to date, we've supported 1,420 businesses in some shape or form, whether that's a workshop, one-to-one, but that kind of intensive support. We've issued grants, sorry about my typo on this slide. We've issued grants to date of just shy of £900,000. That doesn't include the Business Resilience Fund that we have at the moment. So by the end of early July, we will have issued nearly £2 million worth of grants, which I think is really impressive in terms of where we are in the support we're providing. We've given 6,000 hours of support to date. 800 businesses and individuals have benefited from one-to-one support through mentoring and coaching. And we've delivered just shy of 300 workshops. And I've just put a note on there to remind myself more than anything. We've delivered 2 marketplace events. And this came as a result of me being involved with a big gig with Paul, just really trying to work out what the businesses wanted. And we talked very much about trying to create that community feel, which is where those marketplace has come from. We delivered 2 boot camps. So we saw something like 60, 65 people go through those events. We will look to run something similar moving forward. And we delivered 1 growth accelerator.
Helen, is there anything emerging on that? Yeah, that's a really impressive set of figures and brings to life the support that's being offered. But again, I guess similar question linked to the business grant resilience grant question. Is there sort of any emerging issues, any emerging trends, any sort of particular challenges that businesses are coming forward with across the various levels of support? Is there a consistent message that's coming through?
Not really. I guess if you look at we have such a variety of clients, and I guess the marketplace is a really good example of that. And some of you have been to those marketplace events. We might have there's a lady called Fee who used to be in the corporate world, set up her own jewellery business, who would be stood next to somebody who has got as researching and developing quick test. So it's just, they're all so different. It's very hard to give that. This is what people are looking at. The one thing we are finding at the moment is cash flow. That's a big one for people, and really trying to understand how they can pivot their business or where they gain those new markets from. And I guess that's why we're changing things. So we've had the export department working with us, and they could give a different slant, and really just looking at the differences that Paul can bring through, I guess. Okay,
so I guess the key message to those listening and watching is that actually there's a broad offer of support from pre-start with the Public Business School, right the way through to new innovation, high growth businesses. And we would hope that we've got something for everyone. across that range of support. Okay, that's really helpful. Thanks.
So just really, I guess, to quickly touch on what happens now. So obviously we'll continue with what we're doing at the moment. So that's with the COVID-19 response. We will continue with Escalate and innovation support for business. But we are looking to enhance that. So interestingly, we had a communication which Richard won't have seen yet, that we are potentially able to change slightly our European funded programs, which these two are. So that's going to be a conversation that we need to have, Richard, over the next week or so, in terms of how can we make sure that we can best respond to where people are at the minute. We're looking at an enhanced growth hub offer. We've been awarded some additional funding as a result of COVID-19. So we've gone out to market, and that will launch in July. We will award a contract this week, and that's very much focused on one-to-one support. One-to-many, I've put on here peer-to-peer formal programme, and that's because we've been given an opportunity as of last week to apply for funding to put in place a COVID-related peer-to-peer programme moving forward. And then really helping the development of economic recovery plans as part of that enhanced offer, enhancing the triage and enhancing the amount of one-to-one support we can offer through mentoring and coaching. And I've just added on this morning, because I think this is important, we will be doing a boot camp for those of you that like our boot camp. It will be different. It's likely to be digital, but we're going to work through that. And then we will think about Marketplace and boot camp this year. So there's lots going on. The team's quite small. We are looking to expand, but we are very committed to providing support across the county. And for those that you haven't engaged with us before, I've just put on here, please get in touch with my team. You can see the email address on the slide, or give us a call. And we're happy to help or give you more information. That's me done, I think. If anybody,
yeah, indeed, and thanks, Helen. That was really helpful. I guess a couple of things just to close, just conscious of time. Clearly we're in a once in a generation, once in a lifetime situation. And having incredibly far-reaching effects across all our communities and businesses. We are working with government as part of economic recovery planning at a national level and drilling that down locally. 3 phases: respond, which is, and we're in the response phase now, and a lot of what Helen has described is very much our response to the pandemic and the business support around that. At some stage, we'll move into a renew/recover phase, and that's looking at perhaps interventions from over the next 3 years or so, and then into the more long-term phase, which is very much around rebound and renew. Those phases will blur, and nobody's quite sure when one will move from one into the other, but that's fine. But the key thing being that we're working with government to really try and get that long-term overview of what our economy needs, of some of the major challenges that our businesses need. So the more information and input we can get through colleagues on the call and the wider business community in to help shape the needs and the requirements of business moving forward, that'll be really helpful. And as part of that, again, Helen set out a broad range of future support, and we hope to be able to extend that aligned to those 3 core pillars.